Hi guys, and welcome to the Capt Fizz and Mask Guy Show. Star Wars The Force Awakens came out 26 days ago, so if you haven't seen it yet, tough luck for you, because we're going to spoil it! Hit the music! From the 7th Moon of Thunder, I am that mask guy.
We're moving your house. You are no longer from the 7th Moon of Thunder, you are from the 4th.
It's a better neighborhood anyway.
Okay, so tonight we have a very special guest. We have Darth Panda.
Darth Panda!
No, I'm just kidding. What's up, guys?
So, obviously you're a huge Star Wars fan like the rest of us.
Yes, correct.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, why you like Star Wars, and kind of where you began.
Why do I like Star Wars? Where did I begin? That's a long question. How many hours do you get? No, I'm just kidding. No. Why do I like Star Wars? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to explain. It takes you places. It takes you to. It's kind of cliche, I guess you'd say, but it allows you to escape from reality, go to places, do things that, your inner childhood dreams over. Who doesn't want to be able to jump 2 stories or be able to control somebody just by telling them to do something? Who doesn't want to be able to master a weapon and be able to do things? It's just the things that you're introduced to at such a young age, and it grabs your attention and allows you to escape from anything that you're going through. And even now, I'm 32 years old, and I just recently saw the new one, and it was any stress I had, it didn't matter. You were just there, you were transported to this other world, and it's just an experience, man. I think that's probably the best way I can sum up why I like Star Wars.
You might as well have asked the guy, why does he breathe?
Hey, I figured to those slightly handicapped people who don't understand Star Wars, it might be best to ask. Because if you don't like Star Wars, there's seriously something wrong with you.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely agree with you, Panda. I remember we saw The Force Awakens on opening night, or actually, we got a sneak preview on it before everyone else did.
Yes, thanks to the Captain.
Thank you, Captain. And honestly, I mean, I think you openly wept. I shed a few tears at the opening, and I remember just sitting there and thinking, this is the greatest thing I have ever watched on the big screen.
I got to stop you and say that I can relate, because when I had the 3D goggles, the glasses on, and it came up on the screen, and the music hit, and dude, that overwhelming emotion, and I literally had tears in my eyes, and all I could think to myself was, oh my God, thank God these glasses are on. Nobody can see me cry.
See, I openly wept. I actually wanted to lean on the person's shoulder beside me, then realized it was a big dude, and it was probably a bad idea.
Well, next time you're going to have to give me tickets beside you.
Why? I enjoyed, looking at you while you were a little tiny ant.
This is true. I was near the, bottom, near the screen itself, and you were up in one of those silly D-box rubber seats.
I was getting my butt massaged by a chair.
Which is what every, heterosexual male, fantasizes about.
Hey, we openly wept at Star Wars. I got my butt massaged. Hey, win-win. So
sounds like a party that I want to be a part of.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. So what was your favorite part of the movie? And don't say the beginning, because that was all of ours.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, right. Favorite part of the movie? To be honest, I think when I guess there's no spoilers. We already said Bone would ruin that. So
yeah, if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, screw you.
I have to say the best part or my favorite part of the movie is when Han yelled to Kylo, Ben. That sent chills down my spine now because you obviously named him after Obi-Wan, Ben Kenobi. That's why they named him Ben. So it just, I don't know, that to me that was my favorite part. It really wasn't huge, but to me that was my favorite part.
It was actually a lot more huger than you realize. The extended version of all the books, Luke's son was actually named Ben.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Luke and Leia had twins, which might speculate, might explain something here that we'll talk about later.
Chewbacca is secretly their child.
Yes, exactly. But they had a third child that they named Anakin as well. And of course, that was in the old Star Wars expanded universe, which has now been deemed just legends. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks to the new Empire.
Yeah, also known as Walt Disney.
Yes. See, I warned you. Disney is a kind of a sore thumb. We do not like speaking their name.
Yeah, it's kind of like mentioning the new Fantastic Four movie.
No. It's like mentioning Fox.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Fantastic Four, Fox. Dude, we're going to have you come back just so we can all go off and bitch and moan and groan about Fox. Just for 45 minutes, because honestly, all three of us have the same opinion of those guys. But you know what? We're here to talk about Star Wars.
I have an opinion about Fox.
Not a very high one.
That is true. It's not worthy of mentioning because it would be a very explicit show, and I promised I'd behave. Dang, I'm so.
You know what, man? We'll get into some details here. Okay, so I mean, let's talk about some of the theories we come out of this. You know what's? I refuse to even say spoiler alert on this because honestly, guys, as I mentioned at the top of the show, if you haven't seen it yet, we're gonna ruin it for you. One of the things is, of course,
and not ruin it because actually we have someone who has said that they saw the movie once. They went and looked at all the Easter eggs of things that they had missed, and actually had a better realization of the movie.
Yes,
the second time.
And I mean, I've seen the movie, I don't know how many times, 3?
I think I live in the movie theater.
Yeah, you probably do. No wonder I don't see that much.
Yes. I have seen the movie 4 times now.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess let's talk about some of the theories here, because as Darth Panda mentioned, Kylo Ren is actually Ben Solo, son of Han Solo and Princess Leia. Or I guess it's General Organa now.
Yes. She is a general now.
She hates being called princess, guys. Okay, remember that.
Right? Yes. I agree.
Well, she hated becoming your Royal Highnessness. Highnessness.
I have a feeling that Star Wars didn't exactly go to the dictionary for any of their words.
I mean, come on, this is the first script that wasn't written by George Lucas in some fashion. So at least, it makes sense for a change. Talking about the dialogue, of course.
Yes, actually, before we get into theories, how do you think J.J. Abrams did on the scale of, compared to George Lucas?
Wow, dead air. That tells you a lot.
Panda?
Hello?
Oh, no,
Lucas, who is... He's creating a whole universe out of his own head where you have JJ who's taking that universe and but he's running with a universe that's already been pre-created to him. There's already rules, characters, guidelines, and I think that he did a beautiful job. His interpretation is wonderful. I think that you can say he's stacked up to Lucas in comparison of, tempo, tone, the way it takes you on an adventure. But I don't think you can compare them beyond that because I think Lucas will always win in my eyes just because he created the universe and JJ's just kind of running with it right now. So I think that's probably my best way to sum that question up.
I think you're actually, you are kind of right. Like, Lucas did create such a wonderful, universe and empire and, whatever you want to call it. But at the same point, J.J. Abrams has kind of created brand new characters and, feelings and emotions as well. So it's difficult.
But you could argue, though, did he? I think he did, but did he do it? Did he, though? Because I could also argue, too, that a lot of the characters in the new movie were just, how do you say, 2.0 of characters of the first movie.
This is true.
Just versions redone, or it was so. Yeah, I know a lot of people that want to kind of bash the film by saying that it's a retread of the first one, and yeah, it doesn't evoke a lot of the emotions of the first one, and obviously episode 4 by the first one is what I mean.
Well,
I mean, first one, not episode 1.
Sorry,
but,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't want to cut you off, man, when you're talking here. But, there are some themes that seem to be, continuous throughout the entire series. I've mentioned this before on the show. Episode 1 and episode 4, and now episode 7 all kind of introduce the characters. There is a mentor character who goes off and who dies. And then, the second movie, we saw 2 and, Empire Strikes Back, and probably 8 is probably going to be the romance. Although, if the guy who plays Finn tells us anything, it's going to be a much darker movie than what we've seen so far. So, but there's definitely some themes that seem to be very continuous on here. So, yeah, some people say, they're just revamping it, but in some ways they had to, because they're going off and they're introducing several new characters to the Star Wars universe. Because eventually, if they want to go off and do Star Wars for decades to come, they're not going to be able to rely on Carrie Fisher or Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford, who, guess what? Solo dies, guys. So, you know what?
I still stick by my theory that Han Solo is not dead.
So, it's... we're going here,
I think not to... he's dead, man. I'm sorry to cut. I gotta say, I don't know about... I think you might see him in the other movies for, say flashbacks to... If he is somehow connected to Rey and parentage or whatever, you might see flashbacks of him or whatever, but I don't think that you're going to see him alive, and he might be in the movies after this, but he won't be alive.
Yeah, my opinion of him not being dead is he may not have been a Jedi, but we have seen a lot of ones like Anakin, who wasn't technically a Jedi anymore, come back as a Force ghost. I could see, especially with Han Solo's realization of the Force being real and and all that stuff, that possibility happening.
Quite possible.
I am crazy, but hey.
You might be crazy, absolutely. Okay, guys, you know what? Let's get into a couple of these theories here. I know that you two have went off and been discussing this to a certain degree.
Yes, over a lot of late night calls, we have established a bromance.
A bromance. Okay. So
that ended twice last night.
So I guess we're going to start off with what is probably the biggest question coming out of, The Force Awakens.
Who's BB-8's parents?
I think we can determine that he's the love child of the first Death Star in R2-D2. So we can move on to the next question here. So who is Rey?
I think I'd like to hear Panda's, theory on this one.
Yeah, come on. You're the guest.
All right. I'll take first shot at it.
Awesome,
right,
because
so I know the popular theory here and thinking is that it's obviously Luke's daughter. I see why people think that. She was drawn to Luke and Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. She had flashbacks of previous movies, but I don't buy it, and here's why. Well, I got a couple things on here that I would like to talk about here. Being one is, how many characters in the Star Wars universe do you know that has an English accent?
This is true.
Open-ended question.
Very few.
I can think of one.
Mostly Imperial officers, actually.
They don't count.
Grand Moff Tarkin had an English accent.
Yeah, some of them, but that's because that's more of a Coruscant dialect, so